All right. The gang's all here. Did we lose someone?
Yeah. Yep.
He like Benny the Butcher, man.
Are you taking yourself out, or is Jay doing that over there playing with buttons?
I'm not doing nothing.
Oh, okay. Okay. Someone has to mute their playback on their. Is that you? You,
Yeah.
sir? Pat? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh my God. It always takes us several minutes to get it together over here. I mean, we're going to need to figure this out. Anyway, happy Tuesday. Officially, welcome to the Tip for Tap podcast. We are so happy to join you guys tonight. We have an amazing show on hand, an amazing topic. And so I am Carolyn, obviously, one of your hosts.
I'm well. You just going okay? Let me do my part. I'm Jay Moore. I'm the tat, the tip for tat, and she is the tat, the tip for tat, and together we go tap for tit and tip for tat, and we got some more tip for tatters on with us, so we can go tip for tat all night long. Let's go.
Oh, you didn't take a breath that time. I love it. And of course, we have special guest Eddie joining us. You want to give your background real quick?
I'm the residential married guy with 3 kids. That's
And
me. That's
then
it. That's it.
we love it. We definitely need that married perspective.
Hmm.
And then, oh,
Jay keep disappearing.
I know he just keep going in and out.
I keep disappearing. Hold on. Let me reset myself. Let me go ahead and introduce myself real quick, and then come back to y'all and reset.
Okay, let's do
Um,
that.
Jay Mitch, New York born and bred, just like your man E. Also married with 3 kids, but mine is grown, so I'm locked out in that department.
Okay, so we got two married men with children, one man that is dating, right? Seeing
Divorce,
people, divorced.
divorce.
Oh yeah, divorced. And then of course the single girl right here. Anyway, single and mingling, dating, navigating dating in the workplace. One of the things I thought about when I at first thought about this topic was I feel like there's two like subtopics here. I feel like there's having a relationship with someone that you work with, and then I also feel like there is how are you moving at work when you're in a relationship, if you guys get the difference between the two. And so I definitely want to get into both parts of that. So we can start with dating someone that you work with. How do you guys feel about that in general? Do you feel like it's appropriate, inappropriate, it's fine? What do you guys think?
Gentlemen, go ahead. Take us in.
Well, personally, man, I actually met wifey at work, so that was real. Like, that was different, and it was during a job that was laying us off. It was like in '08, when things were getting crazy, back in Atlanta, and the recession was popping off. She ended up moving to another position. I ended up getting let go. And it was like a love in a strange place, man. And we ended up clicking. We were already friends at work, but it was like friends with possibilities. You feel me? Where you like somebody, y'all friends, but like, man, if we was in different circumstances, bruh, I'd shoot my shot. And then it was kind of a blessing that I got laid off and she moved to another position, and then I was able to really kick it off, which was great. And then now we here with 3 kids and married for 13 years. So
Wow. Okay.
Did you have any experience dating in the workplace prior to dating your wife, or
yeah,
was
yeah,
that
I
the
did,
first
I
time?
did, and some of them in the early parts of my career, working in the workplace, like in my 20s and stuff. I had to learn the hard way. You don't pee where you sleep. You know what I mean? Like when you first come into the workplace, it's almost like everybody's out of college. Everybody's kind of trying to make a name, and then there's a bit of like everybody got a side hustle. They either a promoter, they got something popping off. They're a singer, dancer, something like that. So then everybody clicks in like a very it's like a almost feels like college in a way, your first couple jobs. And I remember, yeah, man, slipping and sliding in a couple situations with people at work. And then it got into where I remember there was one job that I really actually liked, but this one girl like didn't work out, and then she got bitter and started kind of telling people like Eddie's, this cruddy dude or whatever, and started putting a name out there, and it was getting uncomfortable because then like, people would like I became radioactive because I guess she was a popular person at work, so it didn't work out with her, and she got in her feelings hard, and then I ended up just kind of leaving the job because I knew that because everyone liked her and she happened to be a boss, that there was a bit of a culture shift, and I could see they were trying to get me out of there because they wanted to keep the peace with her, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the risks that you take when you get involved with someone at work. But I want to know if we're going to call you JM and just J. Okay. Jay, have you ever had a workplace relationship? Have you ever dated someone that you work with? And if so, what's the background behind that? Tell us the story.
Well, I was prior military, so being in the military, if you ain't messing with coworkers, then you wasting your time. That's just that's
They
just what everybody
incentivize y'all
did.
though.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
They get
Wow.
incentivized, real talk.
yeah,
Have to.
you go ahead and make it official, you get more money in your pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So,
Yo,
but
Jay, you was what part of the military?
I was in the army.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
Thank you for
Yeah.
serving, by the
Yeah,
way.
thank you. That's awesome, man.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it. But yeah, just in that regard, of course, most people come in young, and like E said, that whole college mentality, kind of like, frat mentality to it, where hey, everybody was just fraternizing with each other. It was what it was. Divorce rates is higher in the military than they are in the real world.
Well, y'all getting married for the money, so of course it's going to be like that. Like, what are we talking about here? I personally know people who were in the military that got married and wasn't really like together at all. They literally just did it for the money. So and they're not married anymore. So there's that. But that's obviously, I don't know. Like, okay, well, we got 2 for 2. Jason,
Hey,
what's
well,
your workplace
we're gonna go ahead
experience?
and make it a triple, 3 for 3, baby, because I
Hat trick.
definitely have had relationships, one night stands. I've had sex in the office. I mean, I've been
What?
off the hook. So
What a hot mess. And so, okay, I just have to know how you're able to navigate relationships at work, because wouldn't that, even if things are going good, even if things are going bad, wouldn't that pose a distraction? Did it take away from your productivity at work, or were you able to maintain your focus?
I
How
was
does that
always
work?
able to maintain focus. The one thing I didn't let it do was distract me. But when it went bad kind of low. It didn't blow up in my face. Well, it didn't blow up in my face, but it went bad. Um,
What happened?
because I was fucking a supervisor.
Woo.
I
Me
was going
too,
to get to
bro.
that
Me
question at
too.
some point.
Me too. I don't know what it was, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I mean,
let's
even though
talk
she was
about
the
that
boss,
for a
I gave her the
second.
raise though. I gave her the raise.
Because, see, it's too much testosterone on this call. I see already. I'm not doing it for an hour and a half. Okay. I'm not doing it for an hour and a half. No, you made me even lose my train of thought over there, Eddie.
I'm sorry, my bad. I'm rhapsodizing. Forgive me.
But you got to bring me back now. What we're talking about?
So listen, I mean,
Oh, you were sleeping with your supervisor.
yeah.
Okay, so
It wasn't my direct supervisor. She was like
in a different department.
sort of, yeah.
So you didn't
It was
answer to
weird, but she
her,
wasn't my
right?
direct, but she was definitely a supervisor, and she could tell me what to do if she wanted to.
Okay. And so how did that start? Like, how did the entire thing start?
She said something slick one day.
Just like something flirty?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you responded to it and went from there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then and see when it can go down. Always in the corporate world, it's some Christmas parties.
Oh.
Oh,
Throw that eggnog with the brandy, bro. The
Listen.
eggnog with the brandy.
Listen,
There
Lord.
you
you
want
go.
to know who's banging who? or if you can knock somebody down, the Christmas party.
Oh,
I can't.
facts.
I want to disagree and act like I don't know, but I damn sure know. I've seen the Christmas parties go down. I'm gonna say
It
that.
goes down in the listen.
Choosing
It
Wild.
people.
goes down.
Wild. I mean, with me working out of school, and honestly, like I stick with the group that I'm like work closely with. But then when we all get together, and somebody might be spilling some tea, I'm like, damn, I didn't even know. It be stuff going on at my job that I like don't be knowing about at all.
Really?
And then I
Wow.
find out, and it happened like months and months ago. I'm like, dang, well, I don't never know the tea.
Yeah, corporate's different. Corporate is funny because corporate, everyone thinks they don't know somebody's business, but everybody know everybody's business. In corporate.
Everybody know everybody.
It's like the worst kept
Wow.
secret. It's like everybody know Jay banging that chick from accounts receivable. You know what I mean? It's like, and Jay the only one that think that we don't know. It's like, bruh.
But it's well
Why
known
your car still
knowledge.
parked out here, homie? Stop it.
Bruh,
Wow.
I'm banging. She's receiving accounts all right.
Anyway, this is not going to be that type of show this evening. Okay, let's get serious. All right, so our goal is to help people. So let's talk about it. Let's have some dialogue. What about boundaries? When you are dating someone that you work with, what type of boundaries should you have in place? Now, y'all don't sound like y'all had any at the time, but I'm going to give y'all some grace.
Whoa, wait a
Maybe
minute.
y'all was young.
Don't throw me in the box with Jay.
I'm going to say y'all did that crazy stuff when y'all was young, but now, what advice would you give in terms of setting boundaries if you're dating someone that you work with? Because there needs to be some, obviously.
Everybody needs to do it once, I think.
Do what? Mess with someone at work?
Yeah.
No. No. You don't get your meat where you get your bread. Somebody told me that. I think it was this white girl I used to work with. Eddie, you remember Jackie at the front desk?
Yeah, I do
That's
remember.
who told me that.
Wow, that's
That's
slick.
what
I
told me
like
that.
that.
Listen. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why everybody needs to do it once. It's actually a great learning lesson. You actually can see how you are in pressurized situations, and also you can see how you operate as far as the discipline part of it. Like, do you have the discipline enough not to act up or act a fool or kind of keep it cool at work?
Okay, I think I know where you're going with that. So you're basically saying like it's kind of like testing yourself
Yeah,
to see kind of where you are on that parameter of
yeah.
okay. I mean, I'm not going to just encourage, dealing with somebody at work, but I can understand how dealing with someone at work would be a measure of those things that you just talked about, because you would have to, because that's what boundaries are, right? Like that is, I think, why boundaries are needed. There has to be some type of discipline in terms of being able to date someone at work and not do too much, not get caught, I guess. And is that another thing? Like when you have a work relationship, how do people treat that at work? Like if you're trying to hide it, but everybody knows, because y'all said people think that people don't know, but they do know, right? So
Everybody plays dumb.
how do you maneuver? Everybody just play dumb like they don't know what's going on?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was actually couple isolated situations that I saw when I was in corporate where this girl was actually having sex with the VP of the company, and everyone knew. It was like evident, and coincidentally, it was a spinoff from her being drunk at the Christmas party, which is funny you said that. We were playing the white elephant game, and whatever. It took a turn to something else. And after the, it was funny. After that, it was plain as day that we could see that she was trying to, mess with the boss. And he was married, had kids and everything. And then all of a sudden, maybe 3 months after we knew on the low that they had something going on, she was getting promoted. She got assigned her own team. She started getting money. And that's when all the hate started coming out. Like then other girls were like calling out like, oh, wow, yo, that's not even crazy. Her numbers ain't even like that to be getting promoted. Oh, so that's Then it started getting real ugly. Then people went to HR on her because they had evidence. People knew that like she was doing more. It was crazy. Then there was even like encounters where people would see them at the grocery store together. I mean, you know Atlanta. It's like this big. You feel me? Like everybody share that same Kroger.
So they were in a full blown relationship, or were they just sleeping together? Because I feel like there's a difference.
Well, from what I heard, I left the job, but I heard later, like from some of the people I still kept in touch with, that he ended up marrying that girl, left his wife for that girl. So she was a typical young girl, and he was a typical older guy, married with kids, and I guess unhappy. And how what do they call alcohol? The truth serum during the Christmas party. I think he was telling her like, yo, and it was funny because we're talking about this because someone had told me because we started gossiping about them for a long time because it was so in plain sight that people were like, oh, she's been plotting on him since she got hired. So people were, and apparently that's the first time I ever heard someone call someone a work wife and a work husband. And that's when I saw the evil of it, if that's the right word I want to use, because essentially the thing that's dangerous about a work wife and a work husband in this isolated situation is that he was a married man, but he was emotionally connected to this girl. So he was like literally venting about his wife to this girl, and that's how she found her in. You feel me? And then she got in and then got in what she got. And I don't know what they're doing now, but I know after I left, people were telling me, oh, they ended up getting married. And I was like, damn. Because she was like 15, 16 years younger than him.
Wow.
I'm sure
That was
you
the
have a
first time
question about the work wife and husband, Carolyn, don't you?
I do, but I don't want to get into that right now. Right now,
Okay, no, we good.
because that's like kind of like this another different subtopic.
No,
Right now, I just want to focus on
Yeah, no, we good. I was just making sure.
dating within the workplace.
Lotus brought up something that's interesting. Is there a gender equality when it comes to doing that?
I think that's a great point, and it probably not. If we're being all the way real, it's probably not. But that's not fair. I don't think. What do you guys think?
If a man does it, he's the man. If a woman does it, she loses credibility. She slept her way to the top. Can a man sleep his way to the top?
I mean, he could. I've never seen it done, but I mean, I guess it can be done.
If he dealing with somebody that's at the top,
Absolutely. It all just depends on the power dynamic. If it's, in the workplace, generally speaking, men tend to be in more leadership roles. So, they have the power in that regards to promote, make your job easier, in terms of the employment. The person that the man is dealing with can usually, get things out of that situation, from an employment standpoint. But if the woman's the boss, same thing if she got same thing if she find a dude in the office. All of a sudden, because she has that power, all of a sudden, he starts getting favors. Things start coming his way, But it just all depends on the power dynamic. But it could go both ways.
Yeah, I think so. I heard that happens a lot in prison. Like dudes will be sleeping with the officers, and then they'll get special treatment and stuff. I hear about that a lot. Like one of my friends told me about how one inmate, when he got out, he ended up marrying one of the prison, correctional officers. Facts, and had a baby with him and everything while she was working and he was still doing his bid. Oops.
He was getting in-house conjugal visits.
Yeah, facts.
I've seen stories where that's happened, and like the woman has lost. As the woman in that situation, you were in a lose-lose situation. What can they do to him? He already in jail. I mean, he already in prison. But you can lose your job. You know what I'm saying? You can lose your credibility, and now that impacts you. All for what? That just doesn't seem like a very smart decision at all.
Yeah.
The inmate got everything to gain.
Right, exactly. And they do get things like, I met this guy last summer who had did like 9 years in prison, and he was telling me how he was sleeping with several of the women, and that he was getting, like, he had all the things he wasn't supposed to have: drugs, cell phone, special privileges, of course. Yeah. And so, what'd you say?
Booty.
Oh yeah, I mean that too.
So, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Do you think that in a situation like that, is the person that's in kind of like the position of power, do you think that they're um, being manipulative or taking advantage of the fact that they are in the role that they are compared to the other person who's technically subordinate in some way?
Are you referring to sexual harassment?
Sexual harassment, but just also like as a young woman, if the VP is coming on to you, you may feel like I want to advance, or I don't want to piss him off and then lose my job. Maybe you feel like you have to accept his advances, not necessarily sleep with him. I don't know, it could go there, it does go there, but I can see how a younger woman who is like trying to figure herself out might be taken advantage of in that situation because she is trying to further herself and she's afraid, to piss the boss off. What do you guys think?
I think it's a conundrum, in my opinion. I think the conundrum is that if you take the work environment out of the equation, a girl is supposed to check for a guy like that because the VP is established. And if she brought him home to meet mom and dad, they'd be like, oh, he's a catch. Oh, and it would be like that. So that's why it's a weird dynamic, because I hate to say this word, but I feel like women are trained to look for a guy who's can take care of them and give them security, like a VP. The only difference in this equation is that it's just a job. Like, they work together now. And that was why I kind of was like, I mean, I can understand the dynamic and how people can sway and manipulate and leverage, but then it's like, I don't know, women are brought to look for that, That's why it's almost, I don't know how a woman can turn it off at work, because she's not going to turn it off at the club or at the library. You know what I mean?
So if that's the case, yeah, I get what you're saying. And if that's the case, then why is it why is it considered by some people a negative thing to be dating within the workplace at all? Because if you're somebody that is, going to move that way regardless, then why wouldn't it be okay? And I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying it is okay or it's not okay. I'm just trying to figure out, why wouldn't it be okay if you take those same two people and now you just place them in an environment where they're working in the same environment? Why would it be any different?
Well, I think if once you put the supervisor subordinate dynamic in there, that has to be off the table, because there's just too many ways that can go left. Of course the supervisor has that power over that person. That person, they working for that money. They working for that career advancement. It's tied into their whole standard of living. What won't they do? Once that
Mm-hmm.
supervisor says, "Hey, you want this money, you're gonna do X, Y, Z." You know what I'm saying? And also, once if a subordinate even gets involved with the supervisor, even on the other end of that, they can now demand certain things, because look,
Wow.
most places supervisors aren't supposed to be involved with their subordinates. So this little secret rendezvous, if you don't do X, Y, Z for me and in my paycheck, I'm telling. And now the supervisor is on the hook, and now now the supervisor beholden to them. It's nasty. It's nasty. It could be nasty work when it comes to supervisor subordinate situation. When it's just coworkers, I mean, it's, to me, the worst that'll happen is people talk about what y'all doing.
I think that's a good point that I didn't actually really consider, but there's a risk on both sides with getting involved with someone, at work that's in a different position than you. So do you think companies should have policies that regulate that? I don't know if I want to say ban, but maybe ban, like I know in professional sports, the cheerleaders have to sign contracts that they're not going to date the players. Now, we all know that doesn't always, they might sign them contracts, but that continues to happen. But legally, they're not supposed to. And somebody, I wish I could remember the guy's name. One of the football players, his wife quit the cheerleading team so she could date him. Wow. I think they're married now. I can't remember who it is, though.
I think it's interesting that there are rules set up like that, because and this go, and I was going to say something with the last point, but what I don't, what I think is interesting is that we spend a third of our day at work. I like to assume that we all like a portion or some or all of what we do each day for 8 hours minimum. It's only natural to date, number one, people you see every day. You're around them for a 30 a day, and you already have a few things in common. So I don't understand, to a certain extent, why do we shut down those natural instincts, that natural habitat for us to get together?
I think it's because of like it can be like a cancer, like like it can change the whole culture of the work environment depending on what it looks like. Like if you have, so say if I'm in a relationship with somebody at my job, and then for whatever reason we don't work out, or say I'm just sleeping with him and then he's sleeping with other girls, because I know this happened before, not at my job, at another place, a job. The dude was sleeping with multiple coworkers. He was sleeping with multiple coworkers, and then they found out about each other through like different coworkers, not intentionally, just talking. And then it's like, oh, like I'm telling you something about a dude that I talked to, and then somebody go and tell me about it, that he talking to another dude, like in some casual conversation, not knowing that me and him is dealing. You see what I'm saying? And so that starts to get messy. And then you got people picking sides, because if me and you cool at work, Eddie, and now I found out that she did you wrong, I ain't messing with her like that no more. I'm judging her. I don't really, it's keeping her at bay or whatever. So I feel like it can negatively impact the entire culture at a job, if it goes badly.
Yeah.
And there's always a risk that it could go badly.
Lotus brought up, is it because of folks' judgment, other folks' judgment, that we don't really understand? Is that why we say we kind of turn our heads or kind of frown upon relationships in the workplace?
I don't think that I would be judgmental in that regard. It's just always something that I believe to be taboo.
Not
Like,
judgmental, judgment, as in the person, either you or the person you're dating, has good judgment in
oh,
the
okay.
space of acting right, having tact, discretion, and decorum.
So what was the question now? Repeat it.
So is it more so, there's a question, do we frown upon dating in the workplace because we don't have a barometer to be able to judge or look at somebody else's judgment or their ability to have tact, discretion, and decorum?
Eddie, what do you think about that?
I mean, honestly, with that isolated situation I told you about, this girl named Michelle, we worked at a call center. It was stressful.
He put on
She
black.
had, oh, this was like
I know we
many
ain't
years
supposed to
ago.
be saying names now. We don't
Oh,
say
well,
names
this
on
was
the
like
show.
this was like man, long time ago. Like, but this way before I was even dating or anything. Like, but anyway, but I think I saw the ugliness and the messiness, because it was one of them call centers where everybody knew everybody's numbers. You know what I mean? Every morning you got that spreadsheet. Everybody know Jay didn't hit his numbers this week. Carolyn on her last. Everybody know, like, it was one of them jobs. And this girl was like on the cusp. Like, she wasn't special. She wasn't great. But then she found a loophole by sleeping with the VP. And then all of a sudden she gets bumped up to a team lead. And then people got she got her own team. And we knew exactly why that was. Because that's the thing that kind of, I can see why people do judge and it does mess up morale in the corporate environment, because we know we know she ain't even that special, because usually in a call center environment, or most environments, performance related, you ain't a manager or a team lead unless you can prove that you can do the job better than everybody, pretty much. But when you just average at best and you a team lead, and then like I heard she like 6 months later she ended up becoming a manager, I was like, wow, she She must,
You might
she
got that
hard.
sunshine, baby.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a lot of hate and it messed up morale. And I could see why people like me and other people ended up trying to find somewhere else to work because it was just way too messy.
Yeah.
And so morale is a good point. That's actually a good point. It does affect the morale of your coworkers, especially if the person's getting benefits.
Yeah. Oh, all day. When you
Right.
see
It's
somebody that's
one
not
thing to
getting
be
no,
smashing them, but then it's another to give them work benefits.
Hmm.
yeah.
Do you think that automatically comes with the territory if you are dealing with somebody that's underneath you at work?
Ugh.
Like, in what like, is there no way to distinguish between they really earned it and you got that because you're sleeping with the boss?
I mean, you earned it that way.
You earned it regardless. Huh? That's what you said. You earned it.
You earned it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh gosh.
let's not downplay you having to give up your body for money. I mean, it's another form of prostitution, but fuck
Woo.
it if you get something out of it.
I
Yeah,
guess. I mean,
it just hurts morale when because the thing about transparent, every corporate environment is transparent. We know everything. I mean, I remember man, we knew people's PTO. Like if Jay was out that week, we're like, how Jay get to go to Hawaii? You only got 2 days. Like we know everybody's out. You remember corporate, like everybody's PTO. Like when someone's on their last, they got a written. Like all their business.
mhm.
You know what I mean? So my point is that a lot of those, kind of jobs, corporate jobs that are call center, performance based, you need morale to be high for people to stay busy and stay working and stay diligent. And it kills morale when you see a girl over here, you know what I mean? It's like running high school game, you know what I mean? Messing with the quarterback. And it's like, oh God. And then she get to go to all the games.
I'm done. What about, okay, let's give some advice here. I need to learn something, okay? Because right now we just like chatting. That's how I feel. How do you handle a breakup within the workplace? Like, I'm sure there's gonna be
Quit your
somebody
job.
watching this, somebody gonna be listening to this, and they're gonna want to know, okay, I'm in a workplace romance and I need to get out of it, or I've just gotten out of it, we just broken up. Like, how do you move? Like, what are some do's and don'ts as far as navigating a breakup?
Quit your job.
Wow, that's extreme, and someone may not be able to do that.
So here's what happens, right? So let's just pretend me and you, Carolyn, we in a workplace relationship. I've been smashing for 6 months. You on it. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. You start acting a fool.
Mm-hmm.
What's my alternative?
Good point. I mean, I
It's
don't really
not
know
like
that you
I
have
can.
one.
And so let's assume that we didn't report the romance like it says in the ethics rule book for our workplace, right? So now you not only am I in a bag because I'm trying to I'm trying to break up with you, but now you can extort me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Jay, you're about to say something.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, you know, Jay, right? It gets messy, and I think the only way you can break up with somebody where it don't get messy is one, you somehow, some way vetted that person, and you knew if it come to an end, they gonna maintain their composure and everything gonna be cool, or you play the long game with them, and if you want to break up with them, you just kind of get in their head and give them a reason to break up with you. So that way they break up with you and they just leave you alone, don't want to deal with you no more. And they don't have that animosity towards you to want to make you look crazy at the job.
Is
So
that a
that,
tactic that men use?
oh yes, oh
Oh
yes,
wow.
Absolutely.
yes.
Like outside of relationships in the workplace, right? I'm assuming. Just like in general, you've used that. or have you only used that
I
like?
mean, possibly, rumor states that maybe, possibly,
Mm,
Yo,
no, that's a
me
whole nother
personally,
conversation.
when I broke up with a girl at work, I pretty much put it on the job. I said, man, I really like you. I see you really doing good things here. I don't want to be the reason that messes your success up here. They really respect
mm,
you here. Because it happened to be a girl that was there like years before I was. And people knew her and she actually trained me and everything. And I remember at one point she was getting a little too clingy and I just moved to Atlanta at the time, so I wasn't really trying to build with nobody like that. So I remember putting it on her like, yo, this is a career for you. You're doing really well here. I don't want to mess your paper up. And I think when I flipped it like that, she knew I was breaking up with her, but then she also knew I made it look like I'm doing you a favor.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, this is just a job. You've been here, they respect you, you building here, you got money here. And so like she kind of wasn't too mad about how it ended. I think the nasty thing is that when and I didn't do this, but I seen this done is that when you break up with somebody at the job and then you mess with like someone else, so then it's like all your credibility gets messed up all of a sudden. It's like, oh, I thought you weren't trying to date nobody at work, but now you're dating old girl from accounts receivable. Oh, I see how you moving, and then that's when all the
That
messiness
accounts
starts to pop.
receivable department is catching it, boy.
Yo, because they receiving it. They receiving it.
There must be some fine joints in that
Y'all are
motherfucker.
extremely childish this evening.
Ah,
Extremely. Okay. So it sounds like there are a ton of risk involved with dealing with someone at work. You could lose your job. You could cause, the culture or the morale to go down at work.
You can get sued for sexual harassment.
You can get sued.
mm.
So all kinds of things. So what would be the benefit? Like, why should anybody do it? Like, why should people keep an open mind about dating in the workplace?
Eddie, his wife and 3 kids.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
lucky. That was lucky though.
But
That
weren't
was
you guys
lucky.
friends before?
Huh?
You were friends at work, and then
Yeah,
it blossomed
I met her
into a
at the
romantic
job.
relationship.
We didn't know
Okay.
we were even alive until we worked there. Like
Okay.
we were, and the job was so stressful. It was one of them crazy jobs where it was so stressful. Kind of like Jay said, we just had the convenience of always venting and leaning on each other. Because it was one of them jobs where people were corrupt and you saw shady stuff going on, and it was musical chairs, that kind of situation. So her and I were like there for each other as like friends. Like, oh man, you heard about Jay? Oh, and what's up with that chick from accounts receivable? I had to throw that in. Yeah, I had to throw that in. My bad. I rehearsed that one. But like it gets like messy, and throughout all that, just kind of, I mean, maybe not fair. It's a false equivalency, but kind of like the army, you kind of going through this like stressful environment, and y'all lean on each other a little too different because it's like crazy, and then y'all become more than friends, and then it just the convenience, the proximity, it goes there naturally. But me and wifey ended up. It was like I liked her, man, because she saw me at my worst. Like she saw me like getting beat up at that job. Like it was like probably the most unsexiest thing I've ever went through in my life. Because you can be a VP looking cool when you come in, you got your own little parking spot. Everybody checking for that cat. But when you the guy that's like dealing with like drama at the job, and you like the brunt of it, and she was helping me out, like trying to keep my balance with it. And she was at the time, like I said, just a friend with possibilities. But like I think I fell in love with the fact that she saw me at my ugliest, the worst, and still found a way to try to like still see who I was in all that. You know what I mean?
Has
So
anybody been in a position where they were actually a manager or in a position of power and they were getting hit on?
Not me.
Besides me?
woo, got him.
Hey, speak on
Tell
it,
us,
bro.
tell
Damn.
us about it.
Yeah.
What happened? Tell us about it. So you
Now
were
I
getting
didn't go there
sexually
with her because,
harassed, basically.
huh?
Would you classify that as sexual harassment?
So that's an interesting question. Sexual harassment has a power component to it. The person that was hitting on me was somebody that works for me or worked for me. So I could I technically have been harassed? No, because they had no power in the situation.
I don't think that sexual
No, that's not
harassment is
true.
limited to just like a power dynamic.
It is.
It's
I actually did a paper on sexual harassment.
I thought
One of the
I
things
thought it
about
was
sexual harassment, it is about power, which is why that's why relationships are banned in the workplace, except especially from a supervisory to underling standpoint, because you're putting that person in a position where from a because you have the power, you're able to dictate to a certain extent this person's future or what they do in the company.
Yeah, I understand that. I definitely think that is sexual harassment when you have that power dynamic. But I also think if you and I are just both school teachers and you are, hitting on me, making unwanted sexual advances towards me, that's sexual harassment as well.
But unwanted, that's the key word, unwanted sexual advances.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So that's a different category than sexual harassment per se. I think it's a form of sexual harassment, but it's different. Like if you were to go to court, it would be about the unwanted sexual advances and creating a hostile work environment.
Mm-hmm.
right.
The power demand would be a little different. And my boy is on here, he's a judge. He could chime into the legalities of this and the sexual harassment versus all that stuff. He's on the line right now, and he can chime in and type some stuff. But I'm pretty sure based on all my trainings and stuff like that, that's what we've learned. And that's where you gotta have to be very, very careful, especially if you're in a management position. That you definitely can't. You can never put yourself in a situation where you're dealing with somebody you supervise.
Okay.
Like it just can't happen.
All right. So, what advice would you give, since all three of you have done it? Like now you guys are older, you're wiser, you have more experience. What would you tell someone, knowing what you know now, that was wanting to get a relationship started with a coworker? What advice would you give? Would you say just don't do it, or would you say if you do it, do this, this, and this, or don't do it because of this, this, and this? Who's first?
If you don't see a long term, like, I'm trying to be with Shorty. Like I'm trying to, this is my joint. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to make her my thing. If it ain't that, then it ain't worth it.
Okay.
Because
Eddie, what do you think? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm just saying the relationship can always go first than the job if something happens, right? But if you're not in it to win it all the way, it ain't worth it. The juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Okay. Eddie, what do you think?
I mean, I guess in my opinion, it depends on the season of your life. Like if you're in a season where you're looking for something and you're open for anything and you happen to work at this job, you like the job, but you don't see it's a job you're gonna build at. You happen to meet someone that, man, that you really can build with. Like I wouldn't, you don't want to live with the regret of knowing that you were trying to hold over a job that you knew you didn't believe in over someone that you probably could have. But if you out here trying to treat the job like a club, like a lounge, then that's crazy, because that's going to come back on you, even on references and even like in behavior, because a lot of people think just because they didn't get caught, they can carry that same energy to the next job. But you might mess around with that one chick at accounts receivable who don't like the way you looking at her, and she'll turn you into HR and all that stuff that you got away with doing at Amazon or whatever. Bruh, they got you here now. Oops. Now you got to pay a fine. Now you got to go to court date and and we've all seen that, I think, at a job where a guy's just walking around, like literally walking down the cubicles and offices trying to chit chat and flirt with certain people. And you like, yo, bro, you need to.
Yeah, just like hitting on everybody.
Like wide open. Like, where you get to this level? You know what I mean? When you get to this level.
Yeah. I mean, but you see that in work environments. So I know at my job in particular, there are some men who have quite a reputation around the building of sleeping with multiple women. So there's that. But anyway, okay.
They hit on you yet, Carolyn?
Oh yeah, of course they did.
What was this line though? What was the line? I gotta hear this.
I don't think it was a line. It was just, you know how
Did they
y'all let
bring
somebody know y'all interested.
they bring in an apple for you?
No,
He trying to post up on you?
no, yo, I'm not. I'm.
He said, man.
It's just, and I'm not saying there's anything special about me. What I'm saying is, if he's already that dude that we all know who hits on everybody, he's just trying to throw a line out there and see who's going to catch it. And if they catch it, they catch it. If they don't, they don't. And I'm just one of the ones that didn't catch it. That's it. But I mean, it's whatever. At the end of the day, Jay Mitch, what do you think? What advice would you give?
Like Jay and Eddie said, to me, you're supposed to go to work and your priority and your focus is supposed to be getting to that bag. You know what I mean? So if you put more of a focus on trying to just, have a hot girl summer or you know what I'm saying, or a city boy summer, you know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. Like, you gotta have your priorities in order. But, if, like in Eddie's situation, if you come across somebody and y'all just kind of align and match in terms of personalities and things like that, and based on the experiences y'all have at the job, y'all get closer. I would just say, just take your time with it and just vet it out. You know what I'm saying? And don't be afraid to take a step back if you feel like things ain't gonna go the way you want them to go. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna need that job more than you need that particular person that you curious about.
Mm, yep. I like that because that's like also having the discipline to, you might be curious, but you're not going to pursue or act on it. And I think that's grown man shit. And a lot of people are not on that, like, a lot of people aren't on that level. They think that just because they're a man that they're like on their grown man shit, but they're not. So I think it takes a grown man to be able to come to that conclusion and to say, I'm not going to pursue this just because I'm curious. I like what you said though, but if you have something authentic like Eddie and his wife, then just talk about it and navigate it together. I like that. Okay, so it sounds like that we're okay with dating in the workplace as long as we, follow the guidelines that these gentlemen set in place. And I mean, I'm the same way. Like I personally would tell a young woman not to date inside the workplace. It's just there's just potential for things getting messy. Like I just wouldn't do it.
Unless they ain't accounts receivable.
Oh God. I guess. I don't know. Y'all must have had some. Y'all must have been dealing with
He's
a
making
lot of women
deposits.
in
That's all. This is making deposits.
accounts
That's all.
receivable because y'all just can't let up on that. Y'all all probably just smashed somebody in accounts receivable. Apparently, I don't know. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit. Okay, so we talked about dating someone that you actually work with. That's one aspect of navigating dating in the workplace. But now let's switch gears to, you are in a relationship, but you're having to navigate your work environment because maybe there's a lot of temptation. Maybe you work with a lot of pretty women. Like at my job, I know that men be having a hard time because there's a lot of beautiful women at my job. And so, and you can, I mean, men are going to be men. You can tell, sometimes the way they look or whatever. So I just feel like it would be hard to navigate that situation. What do you guys think? And let alone, we're going to get into work wife and work husband in a minute. We're going to definitely get into that. But
I think it depends on the man, right? Like, and your self control. Listen, if you believe the grass is greener, then you're gonna play in that field. If you really dedicated to your shorty, then you're gonna it's work is work. You go there, work, go home. If you're easily enticed, but you try to stick with your girl, you go to work, put your head down, do the work, go home. Like that's what it is. Now you're not blind, and women they got away. Some of them gonna come to work, especially the harder you work to stay away, the harder they're gonna work to get your attention. So you gotta, you gotta put up that Heisman. You gotta be able to, you know, even if you want to look cool, look, but keep it pushing. But it depends on what time you want.
What do you guys
What
have?
say you, fellas?
I don't know. I mean, so there's certain jobs I think that have blind spots. You know, like for instance, like if you're a teacher, and then you might have a thing or a feeling for another teacher because you see him with kids, and you're like, man, he's so he's so good with these kids. Look how he turned Charlie around, who was a F last quarter. Now he's, oh my God, is he A honor roll? Oh my God, Mr. Adams is amazing. And you see, there's kind of a charm, energy to that guy, and I've seen that, with doctors and certain like jobs that have blind spots where you see a vulnerability that you have to be good at that job, and that's why
Mhm.
sometimes it's almost irresistible for people to not have some kind of thing going on, because it's not like, y'all, not the kind of job where you know, because my situation where I ended up having a relationship with my boss was we were having one-on-ones, and she was listening to my calls. And at the time, I was working for a call center where we were talking to people trying to get them like approved, and we were having to like counsel them, because there were people that were either dealing with terminal illness or they were sick. And she saw that I was like really connecting with people, and she would, when you do one-on-ones, you listen to people's call, and she would talk to my call and play the call in front of me. And it was one of them jobs where I actually cared about the people I was dealing with at the time. And she kind of fell for me. I think one time when she like couldn't resist, and she told me like during one of our one-on-ones, like, man, I found myself thinking about you a lot. And I was like, oh, and I almost thought she was playing, but I think she kind of, wee, wee, wee. You know what I mean? But like, and it was one of those situations where like you could like see a teacher that's next to your class, and you like, man, this dude is this. I love the way he's with these kids. He's amazing, and that's where I can understand where people kind of can fall in love or get caught up in maybe doing something that's against their conventional wisdom, because they see the vulnerability in somebody that they don't see outside of work. You know, so I see the honest mistakes in that.
Wow, that's really a perspective that I hadn't thought of or considered. So, for one, thank you for sharing that and kind of bringing that to light, because I do think that there's so much truth in what you said. Um, and it can be a slippery slope, especially if that person's in a relationship. And that's one thing if they're single, but if they're in a relationship, how you're navigating one your feelings for this person that you obviously work closely with, if you're seeing how they interact, engage, like you and your example, that was someone that you were working very closely with. So how can you maybe navigate those feelings when you have them? Should you be honest and tell the person like, hey, I just want to be honest about how I feel, to make it unawkward? Or would you just keep it to yourself? Like, how should you move in that situation?
From what I've seen in my life, it's kind of like what Jay said. People spend more of their life at work than they do at home. So sometimes when people like have a relationship with somebody at work that they connect with, they feel like that's intimacy that they don't have at home, because at home it's like there's somebody else, because they know you as just Eddie at home, but at work they know you as the PE teacher who's cool and sweet and can get everybody to you know be open with the game, and can teach a lesson, can turn grades around with people. Some people don't know that at home. They just know you, oh, he's Eddie the teacher. But then you may know me as the hero. And then because I see you in a way that you see me in a way that I haven't been looked at in such a long time, that's where the problem can come. Because it's like my wife at home don't even see me the way you don't even notice the things that you notice. Like I sometimes you can mess around and be like, oh man, yo, Jay, nice haircut. And be like, oh wow, well, you noticed? Like, wow. And it's things
Right.
like that,
Big
because you're at
fact.
work longer, and sometimes people at home take advantage of you. They just know you
Wow.
as who they know you as. But
Big facts.
at work it's like, oh, you notice, oh, you just got that shirt, huh? And you're like, wow, wow, yeah, I did buy this over the weekend. It's
I
like,
want to. I want to give Jay Mitch an opportunity to speak, kind of chime in here and share his thoughts, and then I want to definitely come back to something that you said, Eddie. But I want to give Jay Mitch the opportunity to share. What do you think?
It's one thing I noticed about workplace relationships. They don't ever stay in the workplace only. They spill over into the real world outside of work. So if you, you know, got somebody or dealing with somebody and you got somebody else at the job too, and you trying to run that, them conversations that y'all started at work, they spill over into text messages, phone calls. Y'all doing more than just doing whatever at the job on site. Y'all linking up, y'all meeting up. So that temptation, if you give in to that temptation, it's just gonna fall into a pattern of you getting further and further towards blowing up what you got outside of that job.
Mm,
The minute you give into that temptation,
yeah.
all you're gonna do is take it right outside the workplace at some point. And that's just a can of worms that, you know what I'm saying, most people ain't built for. Whether it be the person that initiated or whether it be the person they doing it with on the other side of things.
Speak on it.
Because it ain't just, can you handle it? Can they handle it?
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
only you got to worry about your relationship and what you got going on at home. They ain't got the care. They blow
Exactly.
it up in a minute.
That's
And
true.
then that's just you out there looking crazy. You know what I mean?
I think no, I agree with that 100%. I think you said so much that is it's kind of like putting it in a perspective that makes it very relatable and understandable for people who are struggling with that. Maybe I think that's a realistic situation in a lot of workplaces right now, and I think that lends itself to how you get work wives and work husbands, right? Because Eddie said something like getting complimented at work when you're not getting complimented in your relationship that you have, and then you're feeling that a level of appreciation. It sounds like so when you are going to your work environment and you are being appreciated, and you're not being appreciated at home or in your relationship outside of work, then I think that you start to open yourself up to possibly getting into something with someone at work. And even people joke around with like work wives and work husbands. Whenever I think work wives and work husbands, somebody, if not both of them, have some type of romantic feelings for the other person. Now,
Are we diving into? Are we diving? Is
act,
this our entrance into work
yes,
wives and work
yes,
husbands?
absolutely, because whether they're acting on it or not, I believe that they have to have some type of romantic feelings towards that, towards the person, to be even being in that position where they're like a work husband or a work wife.
What say you, fellas?
Yeah, man. I mean, I remember the job I met you at, Carolyn.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this is back when I was single, and I remember I couldn't wait to quit in time. Like I'd be out. Like once that 7 o'clock came around, gone. I was home, bomb. But I remember I could never understand why some of the guys we worked with would live at the office. And I remember talking to one dude who was one of the top sales guys, and he told me something. He said, Eddie, when you get older, man, and you have a family, you'll see that at least here, people recognize me. People know. People see it. They make plaques for me. They celebrate me here.
Wow.
At home, I get paid. I don't get paid for overtime at home. And it was one of those
Mm.
hear me now, believe me later type situations where I heard I was like, obviously I was single. I didn't know what he was really talking about. But what he was saying was that he don't get recognized. There's no plaques at home. He's just daddy. And daddy to
He
me is
gets
just
seen at work. He's seen at work.
He's seen at work. He I remember he lived. I felt like he lived. I used to always make jokes about him. I used to be like, yo, Jim, yo, bro, you stay here another hour, they're gonna charge you rent, homie. Like I used to make jokes about him because he was always at the office.
Mm-hmm.
But his numbers were always killing it, and he was, I don't expect you to remember him, but he was the dude that sat across from my office, and I think he got caught with coke and they let him go. But anyway, sidebar. But the workers' energy was always up. I'm like, bruh. Let's go.
I almost felt bad for old boy for a second there. Almost.
Wow. No,
He had
I don't
beanie.
remember him.
You
I
do
don't
remember that white?
Was he an older guy?
Yeah, older guy.
Oh, I think I know. I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Jim or whatever. He was cool. I liked him a lot. But my point is that I think a lot of men see that now. Anytime you see a guy that's considered a workaholic, what I see now is a guy that just don't want to go home because he gets more recognition and more appreciation at the job. And the reason I say all that to say that leaves the back door open for any girls that's probably checking for him at the job. Because a lot of times I see a guy that's workaholic means that wifey don't even care what he does. Wifey, you ever ask a I don't want to say an older guy, but sometimes a married guy with kids, like how he's doing, it's almost he don't even know how to answer that question because sometimes he don't even get asked that at home. How you doing, Jay? What?
That is some really powerful stuff.
So that's why sometimes at work people slip up and end up, doing unoriginal things, and it's like crazy. That's why you got to get it. It's like what the other Jay said. You got to get your home intact so you don't fall for those things. Because sometimes people do know you in a different way. Sometimes even more of a vulnerable way at work. So it leaves the door open if you ain't got your home intact. So.
Wow. Jay Mitch, what do you think?
I'll say this: and agreeing with Eddie, if you got more camaraderie and you got more cooperation and you got more respect at your workplace than you do at your house, whether it be male or female, that's a recipe for disaster.
That's a problem.
That's a
Exactly.
big problem.
Huge problem.
Huge. I'm telling you, it's a huge problem because that's where that work wife or work husband relationship develops. Is I got somebody who in another universe could possibly potentially be somebody I could be with. For whatever reason, I'm not. Because I got what I got right now. But this person is saying the right things. We get along. We accomplish goals. We do things as a team. I mean, it's a relationship. Ultimately, it's a work relationship, but it's still a relationship where you two are interconnected through your experiences, and that bonds people together.
Facts.
That's true.
And
Big fact.
if it's a whole bunch of positive outcomes with that at the workplace, but then at home, it's the exact opposite. Ooh, hey, man.
I think anybody, that's kind of naturally the thing that you would do is start to gravitate towards, the person that's kind of like meeting your emotional needs outside of your home because they're not getting met, at home. And I think that would be man or woman, like I just think that would be natural because we all need that type of energy in our lives. And, we're going to get it from somewhere. So if we're not getting it at home, we're going to get it from somewhere, right? That's powerful. I'm sorry. Who was about to say
No, I was just gonna say, but that's why you have to have them boundaries. Like, and you can understand, me and so and so, we get along great together. We have a good time. We getting to it. When it comes to the two of us, we killing it here in the office. That's all well and good, but you gotta understand. Once you clock out, there's a whole nother world waiting for you. There's another 16 hours waiting for you, and somebody else there. You know what I mean? You just gotta stay focused and just keep it in perspective. We great as coworkers, but we just gotta keep that what it is.
Okay, so let me give you a scenario. I want to see how you guys would respond. Say I work with you, and we are working together. We work together closely, and then I start bringing you food for lunch. Like I just start, oh, I made this for you.
Ooh.
How do you respond to that? Do you politely decline as to not open the door for anything that could possibly develop from that? Or do you accept the food and then, I keep doing it until something happens from that, from the fact that I guess my point is I'm trying to make is pretty girl at work is showing you this kind of attention, like how do you shut it down in a way? Because some men would accept it, because everybody likes attention. Let's just be real. So whereas you may not have any intentions of moving correctly or whatever outside your relationship, but if someone is showing you attention or giving you compliments at work, then most of us are happy to receive them. But I'm wondering if some people don't look like that as an end. Like when men compliment me at work, like I just try very hard just to be like, thank you and keep it moving, because I don't want you to think that there's any type of interest romantically here. If you were complimenting me because of that, I don't know. But if you were, I'm going to just let you know, all thanks and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not going to like entertain conversation after a compliment. That's what I typically do.
I'm taking the food. Number one, I like to eat. Number two,
Okay.
I'm not going to assume you're doing it because you want to get with me. Now, I'm admitting at this point I'm playing dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because one of the worst things you can do is assume that somebody's trying to get at you. So I'm going to play dumb until you explicitly say something to the effect that you're trying to holler.
And at that point, what do you do?
Now, at this point, we need to have a conversation.
What's the conversation? What do you say?
Well, part of the conversation is you don't have to stop bringing me food.
Okay, so you're gonna just put that out there. You said you don't, or you going? You don't, or you do?
No, you don't have to stop. You can keep bringing the food.
Wow.
But we can't do. I can't get with you.
Mm-hmm.
But your cooking is banging.
Yeah. So you at least will be honest and say, I appreciate the cooking. Like I would happily continue to accept that. However, I don't want you to think anything.
And the reason being is once we've established you're not just doing it out of the kindness of your heart. It's now because now it turns into I'm accepting this and I'm complicit in the relationship. I need to explain to you that I'm not complicit. I don't agree with it. And depending upon our positions, it might be slightly inappropriate. Not slightly, but probably inappropriate. So in that spirit, it's, hey, you know what? Let's just be cool. We keep this between us, no harm, no foul. Nobody has to know. Because what you want to avoid is making the person feel rejected. Because that can turn into a situation too. You reject a woman, she goes to your boss and says, you tried to hit on her. Mm-hmm. Because she's trying to save face from being rejected.
I mean, that's possible.
And I've seen that happen.
Wow. Okay.
So it's a sensitive situation. Women's egos are very sensitive. Y'all's egos is bigger than men.
I wouldn't say that, but I would say
I'm telling the true story.
We got big egos. Okay. Have any of y'all ever been the work husband? And if so, what were your intentions behind it? Oh, we silent?
Say that again?
Ain't nobody got nothing to say?
Say that again?
I said, have any of y'all ever been the work husband? And if so, what were your intentions behind it? Why does everything apply to you?
Because I live life. I just happen to be the work husband, but that's actually one of those situations where nothing happened. It was really strictly platonic.
Okay. So so your intentions were pure. So why did you, what were your intentions? Like, why were you, what kind of things did you do? And how did you feel about the relationship when you were the work husband?
The work husband is the person where it was, like I said, it was platonic, but we always had inside jokes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, or she was from around the way. We had a connection, but we knew or whatever from the jump that we weren't going to do nothing. But she was my comic relief or vice versa. Or I could tell her some things, or she had the skinny on all the workplace gossip and she would put me on something, right?
Did you guys
So
ever go to lunch together or have
all
lunch
the time,
together? Okay.
all
Okay.
the time.
Okay. And
You know
so
what I mean?
if you were if you were in a relationship with me and I was going out to lunches with my work husband, would that be deemed inappropriate? Or I mean, you might not never know, but as far as the morality of it, like would that be wrong?
Wait a minute, say that again.
Focus.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. For me, it's not a deal breaker. It's not even a problem. Like I would, me and that, because if we're together, then I trust you, and I know that you with me, and I'm with you, and I ain't tripping off a lunch or whatever. But for me, back to your original, scenario, I would reject someone if they brought me lunch, like because I know that's a real intimate thing, and I wouldn't shut it down harshly. I would just tell whoever, like, this is real cool. I appreciate this, but you don't gotta keep doing this, man. It's don't even worry about it. I'm good. I make my own lunch, and I would kind of just kind of create this energy where it's like you don't have to do that because I know that I don't want to give nobody confidence, to
Mm-hmm.
think that they can go somewhere else with it and and try to take it somewhere else. I would more just be nice about it, but wouldn't I don't want to create this culture where she thinks she got to bring me lunch, and then next time it'll be like, let's go out, and I wouldn't, nah, man. I ain't trying to start no thing, especially when I got a family and everything. Not even trying to go there.
Right. So I love that. So you just wouldn't even allow the opportunity for a woman to think like there's any type
Yeah,
of anything
yeah,
going on here. I
not
can
at all.
Teacher's
appreciate
pet.
that. Jay Mitch, what about you? Have you ever been a work husband? And if so, what were your intentions behind it?
I would say I was, but I mean, my only intention behind it was just making the most of a situation. We both here at work, and we get along, and we got good camaraderie. And it's just almost like, I mean, this whole work husband, work wife thing. I don't know whatever them terms came from, but once upon a time, it was just your bestie at work. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's what I would equate it to. It's just your bestie. They just happen to be at work. Where y'all get along great, y'all enjoy each other's company, y'all bounce off of each other to make the day go by. Things like that. So I would definitely say I've been that to another person, and I've had people be that for me. But at the same time, you take gender out of it. If it's me and I got a dude that's like that, then that's just, you know what I'm saying, that's my homeboy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, just because it's a woman, the whole title of work wife, I mean, you could throw that out there, but at the same time, that's just like she's just like my homegirl too. You know what I mean? Like I'm not really doing nothing with her that I ain't doing with him. To even to pivot to the other point, I don't have a problem going to lunch with her because I'm gonna go to lunch with my man's too. You know what I'm saying? My man from accounting, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go to lunch with him, and I'm gonna go to lunch with homegirl too. Separately or together, because it's the same thing. You know what I mean? Or
Okay.
in
I'm sorry,
terms
I
of the
didn't cut you off.
food, yeah, I'm sorry. In terms of the food, though, I wouldn't take food from somebody unsolicited. It's one thing if we have a conversation and we talking at work or whatever, and it's like, oh yeah, I don't know. I made this banana pudding. This my favorite recipe. I be killing it. You know, you want some? Oh yeah, I'll take some. Yeah, go ahead, bring it in. I appreciate that. That's one thing. You know what I mean? Or if it's just I'm at work and then Shorty slide over, hey, I made this banana pudding. Here you go. I want you to have it. That's a little different because I don't know where your headspace is at with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want no problems. I don't need that banana pudding, even though it probably do look good. But I need my job more. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I need a stress-free environment at the workplace more. So
Y'all trying to
you
say
know,
I'm the only hoe back here? That's what y'all saying?
I
a hungry one
mean,
at that.
I
But
mean,
yeah, but yeah, I mean, I would have a conversation. If it's if it's a conversation person, sure, come on, because at in that regard, it ain't gonna be an every Friday thing or every other day thing. It's occasionally. You know what I'm saying? And if it's fire, I'm bringing some home too. Like, hey, look, shorty, yeah, she killing it. Taste this.
I got a question, fellas. I got one. Have you ever the used a likeness in the workplace to advance yourself?
Man, I
Like
just
you have, in the workplace, you're that guy, or you're one of those guys where you can kind of smooth your way to that next higher up position without actually exposing yourself. Do you flirt? Do you know what I'm saying? Do you do everything up to that line?
mm.
hmm.
I'll be friendly with it, but I ain't flirting for it. I mean, that's just because again, I mean, look, man, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'd be scared for losing my job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's just a lot of
yeah.
things that I'm like, it just ain't worth it. Like, I'd be afraid. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I do this and I'm beholden to this other person, you know what I mean? Like, once they start to get that impression that they put you on, it creates a dynamic where they may start wanting things. I'm like, I can't do that, man. You know what I mean? But I'll be super friendly, but I'm not flirting. I'll let them know that they smell good, or I'll let them know that,
That's flirty.
that's not flirting.
Well, if you tell a woman, okay, how do you say it? I like your perfume. How do you say? Give me an example.
Yeah, you smelling good today. You killing them today. You know what I'm saying? Them dudes
That
at the
is
accounts receivable.
flirting.
Nah, but I'll be like them dudes at the accounts receivable ain't gonna be able to
That's
keep
actually,
away from
and
me.
nowadays that's sexual harassment.
You gonna put that on the other dudes.
Yeah, put it on the other
Wow.
dudes.
I
Yeah,
like that spin on it. I like that spin on it. So you're complimenting her, but you're also letting her know you not like that's for them. You know,
yeah. I'm just
they gonna.
I'm just making observations. You know what I'm
I
saying
got
about
you.
you, and that's
I
all.
got you. That's pretty smooth. Okay. See,
Well, I
y'all
mean,
got some wisdom on y'all. Y'all know the game
my
now.
situation was a little weird. My situation was a bit of a cheat code. Like she happened to be, she happened to be like Caribbean, Latin Caribbean, which is where my family's from, and we had a lot of commonalities with music and all kind of things. So I didn't have to go there with the sexuality at all, but a lot of it was like commonalities about food and music and culture. And I think when she saw that, we connected on a lot of that, she did almost kind of leverage me and let me know in on like, oh, this is a position that just opened up, it ain't posted yet. You can use me as a reference. Here's the acquisition code. So she was looking after me kind of like a sis, but at the same time I knew it was more or less because, we were both, Dominican, so it was like, oh, mama, ayúdame, pues, yo te puedo ayudar, yo tengo sancocho. And she's like, oh, all right.
Give me
You
a
just be like,
salsa.
like throw them a little Spanish, throw them a little culture, and they be like, oh yeah, where you know about? Oh, I know one out in Columbia Pike, and just bomb. And
Okay.
then and you show up with like a bunch of food for everybody in that department, but she knows it was you that started it because y'all were talking about it. So
Okay.
stuff like that. Like I had
You brought in
situations
the
where
El
I kind of
Pollo,
leveraged,
the
huh?
Mofongo.
Yeah. Oh, watch your mouth, bro. He know exactly. So like, what I mean? You talking about Mufongo and shit, and then you show up and be like, yo, Jay, yo, Caroline got Mufongo, but really it got stirred up from like the boss that was talking about it when we were like, yo, remember back on the block? Oh, I missed that. They don't have that out here like that. Oh, I know a
Right,
spot though.
right.
I know a
Yeah.
spot though.
I don't think it's like necessarily flirting. I mean, for women, it's different because we have like built in pretty privilege. But like, I think that it's not necessarily flirting. Like, it's to me, it's people skills, which we all need, right? If you're able to find a commonality with someone else, then that automatically helps you start to develop some type of relationship with them that you can then use to your advantage when it comes to advancement in the workplace. Because
Well,
y'all like,
but again, Carolyn, it's natural. Like you already have one thing in common: the workplace. the work.
Mm-hmm.
Then you find other commonalities. It's a natural place for something to go down.
I mean, yes, I can totally see. I see why it happens all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's. I think there's something wrong with it for sure. If you're dealing with someone who's in a relationship, you working with a dude and you know he's married, that is, that's off limits, and vice versa. If you are working with a female and you know she's married, but I feel like some people, especially men, will test the waters on that. If you're already like super cool with a chick from work, and then you gonna put some pillows out there to see if what you can do with it. In my opinion, would you guys agree with that? Jay, you a mess.
I'm not saying. I want to be very clear. I never initiated any workplace romances, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I will say though is that when you're in a workplace and you're spending hours, if the majority of your time is in the workplace and you don't find that balance to take your ass home, you it is you're naturally gonna be or putting yourself in a position where this person becomes more important to you than they should be. We're still human. We still need interaction. We still want love. We still need all the things. And wherever you're at, that doesn't cut off. Or we think we shut it down for a while. But what ends up happening is that once you get relaxed, and especially when you've been at that job 1, 2, 3 years, 4, 5, 6 years, you get comfortable. You not only get comfortable in your position, you get comfortable with the people around you. It's your second home. So now it's like it's you're raw and uncut for something to happen if the home ain't right.
Oof. If. That's a big if.
If home ain't like solid, that workplace it's gonna be trouble. It's gonna be trouble. If at the very minimum, you guys can connect on not only the work, but the other motherfuckers you don't like at your job.
Yeah. The ones that get on your nerves, the one that didn't, you know,
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
You can
Yeah.
connect
copy you on
on
that
the
email.
favorite
You
lunch
know what I
spot
mean?
that y'all go
Facts.
to all the time. You're connecting in a way that we don't often look at as romantic or romanticized, but it is though. Because it's the small stuff.
Yeah. Facts.
Okay. So what if you're in? How do you if you're in a work wife or work husband type of situation and you feel like you are catching feelings because of the bond, because of the closeness, because of the commonalities? How do you pull yourself away from that without hurting the friendship?
Oof. In my opinion, man, I feel like being married is a conscious decision, and you have to organize your fears. One of my biggest fears right now is being anything like my father, who was trash. And I don't ever want to like be that tacky, unoriginal man that looks crazy outside of his house and thinking that's never gonna come back to the house, because that's how that cycle keep going, man. I think uh, we bought into the Old Testament of what a man has to be in terms of having to fuck his way to manhood, and I'm not trying to be a part of that. And I think that's part of the reason most men are greedy. That's why they will smash the interns and smash Karen from accounts receivable.
Oh,
Because their ego is like, man, I got parking. They know me here. You see the plaques? You see the numbers? My nigga, like you see that building? I built that. It's like they come out here wilding, and at the same time, you look crazy, bro. Like you out here moving wild, man. I don't want to be that dude, and it's unfortunate because that's kind of like what we grew up thinking that was the dude.
mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what did Ice Cube say? He saw a Goodyear blimp, said Ice Cube was a pimp. I ain't trying to do that, bro. I'm not. That's not cool to me. That's not cool to me.
Right.
I have two sons and a daughter. I'm not trying to bring that that culture to them. Like, yo, this is what a man is. You got to just smash and grab. You see what I'm saying? Like, you see that one over there? I had her. Like, nah, bro. That's not
Yeah,
cool
and
anymore for me.
I think that's so important because I think that we need more black men, grown men, saying that and spreading that thought process and that perspective. Because as you said, if we are, the world is doing the opposite and saying the opposite, and social media is presenting the opposite. So at the end of the day, if we don't put that message out there, it's not going to get heard and fed enough. Now, people will discover it on their own, but we need change by the masses. We need, on a large grand scale for young men to understand that sleeping your way to manhood is not the move. It's nothing cute about it. Not to mention the trauma that you cause in the wake of doing so. You know, it's a very traumatic background that comes with that. Not to say that you already didn't have a traumatic background, which is why you probably moving that way in the first place. However, we have to stop it. That's what this show is about. That's what we're doing here. We are trying to move our culture forward. So we have to be the adults, be the grown men and women to say, this is wrong. This is not how you move. You should not be married and sleeping with or dealing with people at your job. Ain't nothing cute about it. Things like that. As a woman, you should not be sleeping your way to the top. Nothing cute about it. So I think that's very important.
But it is lucrative.
Oh yeah, you can change your whole life by sleeping with the right man. Your whole entire life, which is insanity to me. But
Is it crazy to
it's
change your life?
craziness. It can change your whole life, and we can name off top of the head so many women whose lives were completely changed because they slept with a certain person.
Let me ask you something, and this is totally off base, and I know we're running out of time, but Kim Kardashian literally became famous because of a sex tape.
Facts.
You think she's really upset about the fact that it was a sex tape that got her famous?
I mean, I think probably now in the age that she's in, yeah, I'm sure she appreciates her lifestyle, but also you have kids.
Let me add on to it. And let's not forget that there are thousands and generations of women who are trying to follow in her same footsteps because she was so successful in that.
Mm-hmm. And that's not the move. You should not be doing that.
I mean, yeah.
Your career plan should not be being a rich dude's baby mama. Like it just should not. Like because
It's a
women,
play.
but that is again, that's the message that the world is putting out. And a lot of young ladies are buying into that. And so, like I said, it takes the grown men and the grown women to say on these platforms, that is not how we should be moving. And that should
But
be
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm sorry to cut off.
No, you're
We're
fine.
going to have to explore and come up with reasons why that's not the move, other than it's not cool.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I really think listen, you telling me getting $1 million, $2, $3 million, and I'm broke because I'm able to sleep my way to it is not cool. You think I give a shit about being cool? I'm a fucking millionaire.
Yeah. But it's more than being cool, like you said.
But I'm a millionaire. I'm changing my life. Now, again, this is a different topic, and maybe we need to explore this more. But how do we really dig into the fact that, do you actually turn down the opportunity to change your life financially and get the type of money that is life changing?
I mean, I feel like that just shows to how you was raised. Some people have a moral code. Some people just internally could not accept certain behaviors for doing certain things to get ahead in life. Even for millions of dollars. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Eddie.
No, I was just gonna say real quick. I think if there's one thing out of all the many things that we learned from this Kanye experience, is that I learned especially that money means nothing. This guy is a billionaire, but we saw him go through a race reckoning because he ended up becoming this punchline to everybody in the world. Like he's the ultimate cautionary tale of what a billionaire jerk looks like. He reminds me of that of how $1 billion. I've never seen $1 billion mean nothing to anybody in my life until when I think of this Kanye story. Because I look at him, you're supposed to respect him, you're supposed to look up to something like that, but then you're like, wow, this dude is a joke. I mean, he's not even taken seriously anymore. Sponsorships, taking everything back. His money means nothing. They won't even take his money in the bank, bro. They tell him, no, your money, you can't be in my bank. And my point is that I look at that at the end of the day, the thing that my takeaway from that is like, bro, we have to lead with integrity. Because that's the thing that's the real value. That's the real merit.
But
Because
what if you
here's a
can
man
be?
that's a billionaire and he's a joke. We got
But
another
what?
millionaire or billionaire in Donald Trump in court right now.
But hold on, Eddie.
And I'm looking
But
at that
then,
like,
but
damn.
hold on, Eddie. But then there's the David Stewarts of the world.
I don't. What are you talking about? What's that mean?
David Stewart is a billionaire, owns a company, is the chairman of the board for a company called Worldwide Technology. One of the very few black men billionaires in the world. I happen to have been able to meet him. One of the most down to earth men I've ever met.
Well, that's cool. It sounds like he has a lot of integrity.
Right. So my point is that getting money isn't necessarily a bad thing. And again, I know we're moving off topic and I know we're over time, but I think this is something to explore because, and this goes back to the original topic anyway, is sleeping your way to the top to advance your money.
Carolyn was talking about how you get money.
Advance your money a bad thing.
Get money, but Carolyn was bringing about how you get money. Like my point is
about. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Does the how matter?
I think it does.
I do. I agree. It definitely does.
Because does the how matter if the end means what you're trying to do is going to be better than how you got there?
I mean, yeah, it's just like right, exactly. It's going to matter. I mean, there's just like you play sports. Are you really going to feel great about winning the championship if you know y'all cheated to get it? Like, no, like it can't. Like, if you have a moral code internally, you're not going to feel good about getting a success the wrong way. So,
what about Robin Hood? What about the Robin Hood approach to things?
I don't know what you mean by that.
So if the moral aspect of how I got the money is poor, but what I did with the money is on the up and up, does it even out?
I mean, at the end of the day, you got to live with yourself at night. You got to answer to whatever God you answer to.
Let me ask you something. You ever wear Skims?
No.
Do you think Skims is something positive for women?
Do I think it's something positive for women? I mean, it's shapewear. Women want to have a certain shape.
I'm asking you, is this something positive for women?
Jay said it's sorcery. He said it ain't shapewear, it's sorcery.
I guess if it makes women feel better about themselves, I would guess
and that's my point.
Mm-hmm.
She started off doing something that didn't have a lot of integrity, but to say, and I'm spitballing here, she's doing something maybe that's positive. She created a product for women to make them feel better about themselves, and it's flying off the fucking racks.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, so if I look back at Shorty, is what she really doing them, or she's helping people get out of jail. Now, she's got 2 lawyers behind her doing the work, but that don't mean her money is not helping that shit happen. It's not her infamy is not helping that shit happen.
Right. And I think who she is now and who she was then are 2 different people. I think if you were to interview Kim K now and you were to ask, would you recommend girls making sex tapes to get famous and make millions of dollars? Then she's going to say no. So I think
But hold on, how could you say that if what she's able to do now with the money is so positive?
Jay, let me ask you this
though. It's still wrong to do. You shouldn't do it. In my opinion.
Let me ask this real quick. and I know y'all don't know how to lie because y'all real men. So I know I don't gotta ask you to tell the truth. When you heard Kanye first married Kim, what was your initial reaction?
I was
Both
like,
Jays.
he a gump for that. He a sucker.
A sucker, bro.
That's crazy.
Why?
Because he married a chick who fucked on tape.
There
Because,
we go, bro.
well, no, I think it goes deeper.
That's what I'm saying. Money has no
Well,
value.
it's deeper, but
Yeah,
the
it's deeper.
self-esteem
He married
issues,
somebody.
the whole morality of it. Yeah,
Right.
go ahead, Jay.
No, I'm saying he married somebody who made a judgment who can be looked at as making shaky judgments. He married somebody who can't be trusted in regards to when it comes down to it, can you make a sound moral decision?
We forget that chick was
Regardless of the money.
married like a rack. He
Right.
was married a
So
guy for like 2 days at one
that
point.
was when
Remember?
she
That
married
basketball
Kanye.
player?
But if we take a look at what she's done with the money,
I'm sure she's a
then we
nice person, bro.
actually,
Nobody's
you
saying
can
she's
make an
not good.
argument that she has integrity. Like nobody put a gun to her head to go about getting people who were unjustly put in jail out of jail. Nobody told, like,
No, that was
there's a lot of
amazing. I'm sure she
motherfuckers
got a good.
who,
I'm sure she's a good person.
hold on, Eddie. There's a lot of our heroes out here who are actually contributing to helping put people in jail.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't you marry her though? Oops. I like your point, bro. Why wouldn't you marry her though?
Well, first of all, no, because I mean, Kim
Eddie an asshole.
Bro, she got a booty on her. Let's not talk about it.
What someone does when they are at one, we have all done some stupid things that people can look upon and judge us in a very negative light. We're none of us are on this call are immune to that.
Yeah, for sure.
But who we are now, it's different. We've grown, we've matured. We have probably gotten closer in our spirituality. We answer to someone. We understand that it's not about us, but about who we got to answer to at some point in life. So I think that it's kind of like two different people. You can question someone's moral compass when they do something like that, at 24 or however old she was. Yeah. But now you can look at some of the things that she's done now and you can say, well, no, she's grown, she's changed, and she definitely, I'm sure, wouldn't recommend that type of movement behavior to anybody now. But she had to learn to grow and experience.
But Carolyn, I think that's where the argument comes in. If she didn't have the money, could she do the things that she's doing now?
But there's other ways to get the money, though. That's the thing.
But she chose her way. She used her name. She used somebody else's name, and she created a market for something that we didn't even know there was a market for.
And now her kids go to school with other kids that say, "Hey, your mom made a sex tape." Meanwhile, my kids went to school and they said,
Jay,
"Your dad is nobody's sex tape, but your dad is broke."
Do they really say that though?
But he ain't in a sex tape.
Jay, do they really say that though?
If they don't say it, they think it. But yeah, I'm sure they do say it.
I mean, if they don't say it, they think it. And if they don't think it, the parents think it.
Like how we grew up, bro.
The neighbors think it. The world thinks it. No,
Jay, I'm gonna be clear about something. I don't know if you worked around kids, but how they look at sex is not the same way we look at sex.
Take the kids out of it. The point being, the world knows her the same way Kanye knows her, by way of what she did with Ray J and recorded it.
So if that's the case, and if you're saying that's negative, why is that everything that she's doing now so positive? It's getting a good return on investment. She's getting people out of jail. Her products are selling like hotcakes.
Okay, so what are you actually saying? What are you saying?
What I'm saying is that, and what my point is, and I'm really playing devil's advocate. I'm playing the other side here, and it may not be a bad side. Is that sometimes sleeping your way to something could be just part of your plan to a means to an end.
I mean, I
If
can't.
if you like, yo, I see a way to use sex to get me to this position so I can do this, this, and this. Who am I to say that's wrong?
You're not. I mean, we can't judge anyone. We have our own moral code within ourselves, and we can decide within ourselves how we feel about something like that. But no one's in position to judge anyone else because we've all done things that we should not have done. Period, point blank. And you know what? We're like so overtime and actually kind of off
Yeah, we
topic.
gotta wrap it up.
We got to table this for now.
We got real spicy at the end.
That's a good one, though. That's a good one, though.
I definitely do want to revisit this as a topic in the very near future. But next Tuesday's topic is why women value safety over love. That's next Tuesday's topic. So, and y'all definitely want to tune in and learn some things. Well, Eddie and JM are married, but Jay Moore.
What you saying?
I'm just saying they don't need to learn.
What you saying? I can't learn something?
Nah, we are.
What you saying? I can't teach?
No, I'm just saying if you're not married as a man, you should probably.
Eddie and Jay, I've been catching a lot of strays on this podcast.
I noticed.
No.
I noticed, man. Stay low. Stay low.
I've been catching strays out this
He be going from my head
in the army.
The block is hot right now, son. The block is hot.
Anyway, yes, next Tuesday's topic, why women value safety over love. This Tuesday, we're going to be visiting the Black Effect Podcast Festival down in Atlanta. We're going to do some live footage from there. So super excited about that. Get to learn a lot and get some great ideas, meet some awesome people, and so that we can make a better product for you guys. So I will just let our guest give last parting thoughts, and then Jay and I will wrap it up. So, Jay, Mitch, you go first.
Jay, take us home, Jay.
Let me take y'all home real quick. All right. Well, we were talking about these workplace relationships. I just say tread lightly, understand the consequences and repercussions of your actions, and know that ultimately your decision is going to be bigger than you.
I like that.
That. Eddie, take us home, baby.
Facts. That's I can't follow that, man. All I can say is I can add to that. I think the end goal of any relationship, whether it's marriage or just being with somebody, is knowing that you're gonna have to raise another human being. And the way you raise that human being with a partner needs to be in a way that you can feel proud that you are planting a beautiful flower into this garden of life. I feel like when you're a parent, you get this like collateral connection with everything to where you realize everything does mean everything. You can't, like, all the kids that are around, I look at that now and go, man, that involves me now. When if I see a kid lost or hungry, I gotta feed him. When I was single, I would have been like, he'll be all right. Oops. But now I'm like, yo, youngin, come here. I got. Let's go to McDonald's. Let's get some food. Where's your mama? Let's call her. I got a phone. Now everything means everything, and I realize that that's the end game, is raising human beings that are going to add positivity to this life. And when you part of some kind of crazy reality show type situation, and the kids end up becoming the collateral of that. Bruh, I'm scared, man. Now they my neighbors. I don't know what's gonna happen. They're gonna rob me. What's happening? So that's real talk, man.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I just want to definitely say thank you guys for sharing tonight. As always, I want to definitely show love and appreciation to our guests. Come back anytime. I learned so much from what you guys shared, so I appreciate that. And then to the audience, thank you guys for tuning in. We're here each and every night, each and every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. We love you. We appreciate you. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you on Saturday at the festival. And I'm going to pass it to Jay.
Yo. But first off, big shout outs to my peoples, Eddie and Jay. Thanks for coming on. Always a pleasure. Anytime y'all want to come back, please do. Let us know. Anybody that wants to come on and be a guest and you really want to contribute to the podcast, always everybody's welcome. This is about family. This is about love. This is about bringing us together. This is what we do here. As far as dating in the workplace, man,
Don't listen to Jay. Whatever he about to say, just do the opposite.
Don't do what I do. But if you're going to do it with intention. Don't do what I do. But if you're gonna do it with intention. I never shy away from love. I want to bring us together. That's what this podcast is for. We're bringing us together. No matter what y'all think, black men, we need our black women, and black women, y'all need us black men.
Facts.
That's it. That's what it is. That's what it's gonna be. Please tune in every week. Thank y'all for coming, showing up every week for us. We love it. You know what it is, Tip for Tat podcast, where we always bring the spice, but we always keep it nice. Love y'all. Holla. See y'all next week.